Bring up the mic, Christian. I'm ready to roll. It's Super Bowl 54, Radio Row, Bedlam ensues. So much stuff as we are live here. Tony Bruno, Miss Robin, Christian's here, Don Collins, the whole crew. We're live on twitch.tv. Tony Bruno Show on the main page. We welcome everybody. And we started the show early because our first guest has to leave, and she was nice enough to come in early. So we'll start the show early because we do whatever we want on Twitch TV, just like she does on most of her content. Not all of it. The great Lilly Singh, you see her on late night after Seth Meyers. But you're not up at 2:30 in the morning doing that, right? You pre-tape that.
No,
right?
Absolutely. We did 96 episodes in 3 months. So
oh, really?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Thanks for having me, by the way.
I love the jacket, though. I love it. It's so shiny and metallic.
Shiny. I like to be subtle, you know. I don't like to cause a scene.
And
JK.
you got like the Earth on there, and you got robots.
We got Olay, we got Girls Who Code, we got the whole dealie.
And the oil of Olay, of course.
Olay now.
It is totally out of this
strictly
world.
Olay. It's not oil of Olay anymore.
It's just plain and simple Olay.
Olay.
That's
that's similar to that, but it's not the same thing as the chant that they do at soccer matches. Lilly Singh, a huge star on everywhere. I mean, how many media platforms are you on?
Oh, man. Okay, so my big one is YouTube, where I've got 15 million subscribers. I'm, of course, on Instagram, of course, on Twitter. I have an NBC Late Night Show. I dabble in Facebook. So there's quite a few.
What else? What do you do on your time off?
So, I'm sorry, what's a time off?
I know.
What is a time off?
I know when you're doing shows like this and you're so used to putting your entire life out there, you really, what do you do to have time for yourself?
Yeah, it's tough. Honestly, I try to do things that combine a little bit of work and leisure. So during my time off, I absolutely love watching movies. But when I'm watching them, obviously my brain is like, oh, that scene was good. Why did they do that scene like that? Why did the director do that? So it's kind of leisure and working at the same time. But listen, I love what I do, and I feel very grateful to be in the position I'm in. I'm grateful for all these opportunities. So I don't mind working a lot. I love it.
Lilly Singh. Now, we have a lot of listeners because Singh is a pretty common name. It's like Bruno is a common name in the Italian
it's a pretty
world.
Common name.
And Singh is very popular, obviously common in VJ Singh. And, we're talking about a lot of people with the same last name. He was a golfer. You probably don't even remember VJ Singh, the great golfer.
I don't, not at all, no.
Legendary Indian golfer. So a lot of celebrities from India. Bollywood. Now, are you big into the Bollywood thing, too?
I was actually raised with Bollywood. So I was actually more familiar with Bollywood than Hollywood when I was being raised. And so I love the dancing. I love the singing. I love everything. As soon as I learned how to be that elegant, I want to be in a Bollywood movie as well.
Now, you're a big Bhangra fan, too, because I was playing Bhangra like 20 years ago.
I'm so proud of you for knowing that. That's awesome.
No, I had an Indian listener when I was on in L.A., on national radio at Fox in L.A. He would send me all of his Bhangra remixes and stuff, and I'd play them on the show. I love Bhangra.
Well, here's the thing. My parents are actually from Punjab, which is in northern India, which is where Bhangra originated.
And the Punjab DJ is one of the big stars up in India.
Punjab BMC is exactly what you're referring to.
Yes.
But I was actually the captain of a co-ed Bhangra team, so I'm formally trained in Bhangra dancing, and so it's been a big part of my upbringing.
I play for Robin. Robin's not a big Bhangra fan.
That's not true. There are certain ones that I absolutely love. I think that, but I'm kind of partial for music anyway. Tony loves all music.
Exactly.
I love that.
I'm a little bit
to
more.
Each their own. To each their own.
How many Italian guys are playing Bhangra on their show? I don't even say it right. It's Bhangra, but it's
Bhangra.
Bhangra.
You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
Now, my daughter was just in
Namaste,
India.
by the way. We didn't even start the show properly, right?
My daughter ran the Mumbai Marathon last year, she was there and loved. It was the people, she said, were the nicest she's ever met.
I agree.
Now, do you go back to India often?
I do. I think I go back to India about once or twice a year. Somehow for work or something, I manage to go. And I love it there. I feel like it's a second home to me.
So now, where did this whole thing start? Because obviously you're attractive, you're smart, you got all the stuff. So when did you decide? Because a lot of people have broke out, not from being in a movie or being on the radio or being on TV. Mm-hmm. You started with social media, right? That's how it all started.
Absolutely. I started in 2010. I uploaded my first YouTube video, not because I wanted to be rich or famous or thought I could make a career out of it. It was truly because I was sad. I wanted to be creative. I uploaded a YouTube video. 70 people watched it, and I was like, oh, I don't know, 70 people. This is great. And I uploaded a second, third one, and it resulted in this career that I absolutely was not expecting at all. Also, thank you for thinking I'm attractive. I just wanted to circle back to that.
Well, everybody knows you're beautiful. I mean,
that's
not an
Hopefully
insult.
they also think I'm smart. That's really what I want to hear.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of really good-looking people, and you talk to them, and they're like, So obviously you have to be the total package, and that's what you are, and that's why you're so successful.
I appreciate
because when I started in radio at the small, lowest levels, and you work your way up.
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of young people come to me, and I try to mentor younger people to get into this profession, although I think it's a profession that's difficult to get into because there's so much of it.
It's
but the content world now is open to everybody. You don't have to be a broadcaster. You don't have to be a journalist.
There's no gatekeepers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you start off, and we see it, and we see Ninja on Twitch, the people who play video games.
Right.
You can as long as you have unique content that people want to absorb, you could be pretty good at this and popular
and you
at
have to have
this.
a drive, and you have to have a work ethic.
Yes.
In this industry, social media or YouTube or Twitch or whatever it is, there's no boss telling you what to do. You really have to implement your own work ethic and have kind of. So for me, for 8 years, I had an upload schedule that no one was telling me to do, but I had to do myself.
And you have to keep giving new content. You just can't put up one thing and say, "Oh, I got 20 million views.
Right.
That's it. I'm done. What else can I accomplish?"
That's gone like this
Yes,
these days.
exactly.
Such a saturated market. One video, you're like, okay, that was one. We need to come up with another one.
And that led to the NBC late night show.
Yeah,
right?
so you know what's funny with NBC, and this is why I always tell people that failure is actually a really big blessing. So how this came about was I did an NBC half-hour comedy pilot that did not get picked up, and I was super heartbroken about it because I really love the show and I wanted to work with NBC, but because of that pilot, they became familiar with me, and I guess I tested very well in that pilot. So when they approached me about the talk show, giving me the offer and giving me the opportunity, they knew about me from that failure, from that pilot not going forward. So it was a blessing in disguise.
And so what's next? I mean, because you're pretty much doing so many things.
World domination is next. There's so many things I want to do. I want to produce movies, TV shows. I want to just tell stories that I think are important that aren't being told. I want to push my philanthropic efforts more. I really feel strongly about women's rights, women's education, which is why I love this Olay partnership and the Super Bowl commercial that we made.
Yeah, this commercial is going to run on Super Bowl Sunday, so
Yes.
we're not even allowed to talk. Well, you were allowed to talk about it. We can't show anybody.
You can't show, but I can tell you all about it.
What's it all about?
Yeah,
Now, what do you
it's-
do now? Obviously, you use the product.
I do
first
use
and
it.
foremost.
Can you not tell my skin is glowing?
No, it is glowing.
Glowing.
It's no, that's if I could be one color, it would be your shade.
Thank you.
I'm a Sicilian, so I tan easily, and so I'm you're Italian, you tan, but the natural color. So
Thank
you don't
you.
even really have to do much to
I
enhance
appreciate
the
that.
color.
Well, actually, here's the thing. If you look at my YouTube videos from 2 years ago before I worked with Olay to now, you can actually see a difference in my skin. So when I talk about Olay, I'm like, the proof is right there in front of you that my skin is 100 times better using Olay. But the commercial is super cool because it is in support of girls who code. It is encouraging women to get into STEM because there's a lack of gender parity.
Awesome.
Across many industries, there's a lack of gender parity, and I think we need to see more women in STEM and across various industries because these industries should look like the world they're serving,
Yes.
And so it's a very cool commercial, all female-led cast, which is very, very awesome. And this is the best part. Olay is putting their money where their mouth is. For every person that tweets using the hashtag Make Space for Women, they're donating $1 to Girls Who Code.
So it's
Wow.
Make Space for Women.
So all
But
you
it's
gotta do
Girls
is
Who
tweet.
Code, but
Yeah.
Make Space for Women is the
Yes,
hashtag.
the hashtag you tweet is hashtag Make Space for Women, and when you do that, Olay will donate $1 to Girls Who
Oh,
Code.
awesome. Well,
And
they're
I
going to
mean,
donate a lot of money.
I think
Yeah.
it's so awesome. It's bringing forward that it's okay, it's cool, rather than I think throughout the last whoever long, it is not like girls have given guys or like, oh, I don't want to show them up or I don't want to.
Well, I think it's also that, because I researched a lot about this when I was doing this campaign. I like to nerd out a
Yeah.
lot. And I read a study that was basically saying that a lot of girls, they want to pursue STEM, but they get discouraged because they feel like they don't fit society's
Yeah.
stereotypical image of what someone in STEM looks
Absolutely.
like. And so I think we're trying to challenge that idea, that more women should be in STEM, especially because there's been so many studies about technology that just doesn't work as well for women or
Yeah,
people of
such
color. And
BS.
so we need those people in the industry.
Well, back in the day, my mother, she went to Stanford University. She was going to be an engineer, and she was dissuaded by a professor saying, you're going to have a very hard time finding a job.
So it's really like when
I mean,
people
it's
talk to me
amazing.
about this, it's really about gender equity, giving
Yes.
opportunities where they're needed, and we need to as
Yes.
humanity, we need to have more women and more diversity in general.
Absolutely.
To be in these positions.
Well, I know I've said all my life that we need more women engineers that are designing things because sometimes these things are so stupidly like cars, for example. Like if a woman designs a car, they would have things in different places that would make sense.
Exactly.
No, that's what
It-
every time we travel, we got a suitcase. This is dumb. Why didn't they do this?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And it goes back to like in every industry, I feel like we need gender parity, because even when you wear products that aren't designed by women, it's like, why aren't these real pockets?
Yes.
Why are women's
Yes.
pockets not real pockets?
It's
A
so
woman would have never
stupid.
done that.
And why do women always have the buttons on the wrong side of the shirt?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. When I wear women's clothes and I
Yeah,
wear
well,
unisex
we say that
clothes-
about you guys. So.
Where did that start, by the way? Why do women have the buttons on
I
the
don't
other side?
know. It just doesn't make.
It's not like they're left. You could be left-handed or
I
right-handed
think
as a
the
man or
bigger
a woman.
issue there is, why do the buttons not ever work properly on a women's shirt? Why do I need to safety pin
Let's
that part?
just do freaking snaps.
Do people not know
Perfect.
women have boobs? Like, and that's is that
yes.
new knowledge?
Well,
And
there's
that
a
it
lot of
kind of-
guys who have boobs, too. I mean, fortunately, I haven't gotten to that point yet, even though I'm getting older. So this is a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a sports fan?
I'm going to be real with you. I like some sports. I don't know anything about football. The extent to which I know about football is snacks.
Exactly.
Snacks.
That's all that
I
matters.
use
The
the snacks.
food.
The
But you must
food.
you have to love, like, cricket obviously is huge.
You know, I know a lot of Indians like cricket, but I'm a
I'm not saying you have to
basketball fan,
like it, but I'm saying in India, cricket
well,
is a
cricket
huge
is huge,
sport.
of course,
Rugby
of
in
course.
Canada.
Rugby.
For me, I really like basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because my team is the NBA champs right now, and I feel like I personally did that.
Rub it in. Rub it
The
in.
Toronto Raptors, you know,
That's
and
right.
and they had that great series against the 76ers because I'm from Philly, and that was a great series.
It
and
was. I was.
an
on the,
unbelievable
I think I
finish.
cried many tears, to be honest.
Now you didn't go to the games though, right?
I honestly, I live in LA, but I did fly to a lot of the games.
You flew to Toronto.
I
You didn't
told
fly to
my-
Philly though. I didn't see you in Philly.
I didn't fly to Philly, but for the last series, I did fly a lot to San Fran. I did. So I was. My whole team knew that whole 2 weeks was on hold. I was like, cancel all of my meetings and engagements. I need to go.
Wait, you didn't do any YouTube or content at all during that
I
period?
vlogged and stuff,
Okay.
but my intention was all. I actually had to make a really hard decision because in the game that they won, it was not a home game, and I had to decide: do I want to be away from home or be in Toronto? I opted for Toronto, so I watched that winning game in Jurassic Park, which is where all the fans accumulate.
Now you
in
have
Toronto.
dual citizenship, I would imagine.
I don't have dual citizenship. I have a green card because
Okay.
I love being Canadian and solely Canadian.
But you don't say A like everybody that I know.
I do
Do
sometimes.
you say organization when you talk about, because like hockey fans,
Yeah.
anybody who plays
do you
hockey,
say?
I say
Organization.
organization.
Oh,
But
I
the
say
Canadians,
organization.
Yeah, all the Canadians say organization. I
Yeah.
love the organization.
Yeah, that's what it
but
is.
in America, we say organization. It's the same word. It's just
Organize.
pronounced
I love the-
differently.
I love the organization.
And you don't say
It's
A at the end of every
organization.
I
sentence.
do sometimes. It
You
depends
say A
sometimes.
at the end?
I do say. I
You
catch
haven't said it
myself.
once here, though.
I try to.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it at all.
That's how you know somebody's Canadian. They say A.
If I get really heated up, you'll hear me be like, I know, or like, yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it.
Lilly Singh here at the Super Bowl, the commercials. Now, do you know exactly what part of the is it multiple runs or is it going to be one commercial?
You know,
because the commercials are so
I
expensive.
do know, but I'm not going to tell you. So I want you to watch the Super Bowl in every moment.
I
I want you
do.
to anticipate
One of my
the
jobs,
Olay
even though I'm in the
commercial.
sports and entertainment business, the Super Bowl ads are just
Yes.
as big of story
And
as
did
the
you-
game.
And did you know this? A lot of people don't know this. In Canada, they don't run the same ads. So growing up, I never could see those popular
Oh,
ads.
really?
I had to hunt them down on the internet.
Really?
And now they let a Canadian in, and I'm in the ad.
That's what I'm
so
talking
take
about.
that,
Let me
suckers.
wait, let me give you. Let's get a standing ovation here from our massive audience, our studio
Yes,
audience here.
Massive studio audience. Give me standing ovation. Standing ovation. Here we go.
Kristen, you have, oh, there we go. Lilly Singh. Now you're going to follow me on Twitter now at Tony Bruno Show.
I will follow you on
Are you
Twitter.
following me on Twitch? Well, you
All
can
right.
go to Twitch. We're on the front page, so people all over the world are watching. I want 15 million people watching this right now.
All right.
I want to get it up to 15 million
Easy.
so I can
Done.
retire finally.
Done.
Lilly, it's so great to see you.
Thank you so much for having
You're
me.
amazing, and there's so many great people in this. I had Indian neighbors. The Indian people are just amazing. They come to this country and they take over. They're smarter.
That's
they
a
really
good
are.
take.
All of my doctors, they're all doctors and lawyers and really smart people in India. And it's a country that has a lot of poverty. We talk about poverty in this country, but you look at India and the squalor that a lot of people live in, and then you see how smart a lot of people are there because they get the right education. They get it. They want to be educated.
Well,
the parents teach them that way, and then
One
they
of the
move
things
on.
that my daughter found is that they put such a high importance on education, and that the parents get involved, which is something I think that has been lost in this country, where parents are not involved in their kids' education, and so I think that it's wonderful to say. I wish that Americans did that more, and I think that things are starting in all economic locations that the parents are starting to get more involved in their children's education. It really is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, education was a big part of my upbringing as well. But India's just like every other country in the sense that, of course, there's smart people. Of course, there's people that don't care about education. There's an abundance of everything there, and I think it's really great. And you're right, education is definitely a priority.
Well, it's really
Awesome.
an honor, and I appreciate
Thank
you doing your last interview
Of
on
course,
Radio Row
thank
with
you.
us.
Finish with a bang.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lilly Singh, ladies and gentlemen. Catch her
Beautiful.
everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Olay commercials during the Super Bowl. You know how hard that is to be in a Super
We
Bowl
have
commercial?
tons of people saying, thank you, Lilly. Thank you for coming on. Lilly has such a great vibe about her. Lilly was fantastic interview.
That's why
thank
she's
you
a
so much.
superstar.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilly.
Thanks.
Great to see you. Lilly, ladies and gentlemen.